Show.
I must dig my dig in the mashed potatoes. Go Hog.
This is a team sport. It's not a talent-based sport.
We got Bobby fucking Petrino back. If I'm honest with myself right now, it's a cool 12-0. Oh, look at that tornado.
That's right. I'm going to get us a new intro because it's a new year, Eric. It is very much a new year. You're wearing that same hat, though.
Dude, this is like my go-to-work hat on a Sunday, dude.
It looks like
going to work on a Sunday. That's what I'm looking to do, man.
This is, of course, the college football tailgate season preview beginning. We're beginning with the MAC. The return of the MAC, baby.
Favorite conference, best conference. A little disappointed that NIU's leaving to go out west, the Mountain West Conference.
They are getting UMass, though.
They get UMass this year, improves the basketball.
Fair. No matter what happens in college football, the MAC remains the MAC remains the MAC. And that is why NIU leaving. Is it next year they're gone?
Next year's their last year, correct.
This year is like this coming year's their last year?
Their last year. Next year they're gone.
Okay. That's very disappointing. There's something special about the MAC, dude. The teams, I think probably the greatest parity out of any conference, maybe. Maybe the Big 12 is giving them a run for their money now.
I'm sure they'll come running back.
I bet they will. Now that the Mountain West is like what it's becoming, it's not,
I'm sure they'll come running back.
Any other news that's happened since we've last talked college ball?
Kent State's defensive coordinator is leaving to become an assistant at the FCS level.
That's a good sign. That's a good sign right there.
And Akron is ineligible for a bowl game because of their academic standards. First team since the fighting Mark Schlerus in the mid-'80s.
I love this conference so much. Just as a spoiler, Kent State, Eric, will you be plus 30,000 to win the MAC? Are you going to be dabbling?
No.
Plus 30,000.
No.
300 to 1 to win the conference. Ouch.
I will not be doing that, man. That is too juicy for my blood.
So, for those of you who haven't followed before, what we do is we go team by team, alphabetical order. I'm not picking a win total in every game this season.
Thank God.
I'm only picking my favorite ones. I'm only giving out my favorite ones. This is the only time where it's acceptable to be like, oh, I think they win this many games. I'll lean this way. It's just because, sometimes they'll put aside on a number that's like a minus 150.
Yeah, and they're just brutal. You got to shop around. I mean, there's one win total, it was minus 150. I put it up a win for plus 152. So,
shop around. We are using for the basis of this show. I just went to DraftKings, got the lineups, got the win totals, got the conference odds. For some reason, I guess because they're ineligible for a bowl, I assume they're also ineligible for the conference championship game. Akron, could they still win the conference?
Think they still could win the conference. Yeah.
Okay, because DraftKings did not have a future for Akron. I had to go to Bookmaker.
Can Akron still play in conference championship game?
That's the question I want to know.
It says yes, dude.
Okay. That'd be very hilarious to me. Speaking of which, Eric, we are starting with the Akron Zips. Plus 4,300 to win the MAC. Win total is set at 4.5, baby. Plus 105 on the over, minus 135 on the under.
Returning 31, 5 offensive, 3 defensive. I mean, when you look at it, they could have the best quarterback in the MAC with Finley. Honestly, it's possible. He has flashed some real upside. If he keeps developing, he could be in that conversation. Now they do lose their top 2 running backs from last season, but Patrick, as a redshirt freshman, really looked good, really looked to be the part. They're adding Grant and Macon through the portal. This running back room may actually be better than it was last year. At the receiver room has potential. They're bringing in a few Power 5 transfers. While there's a reason they're ending up at MAC, they still have upside there. Alex Adams is back, should be the top guy if he can fully recover from the injury. I think he will. They've got weapons, but the big question is the offensive line. They lost 3 starters, 2 big backups. That being said, Moorhead has brought in 6 transfer linemen that he's raving about this group. He believes it's better than last year's group, and if it's true, this offense could be interesting. Defensively, they're bringing in 6 transfers. That will help, but losing Noel Lally, who was all conference, is a major blow. They still have Summers, and I think he's primed to take a big step forward, look fantastic down the stretch to close the season. In the secondary, they returned 8 players with starting experience. That's the most stable part of the defense. If the front can generate some pressure, I think it could be surprise some people. When we look at their special teams, they lose their punter, kicker, and returner. I expect a dip here, definitely a concern. Overall, Akron had 4 wins last season. Dealt some brutal turnover luck. But this is the most talent they've had in a while. They're not eligible for a bowl due to academic issues. So with that being said, does Moorhead rally the troops? Because when you look at the schedule, dude, it's manageable.
It's not a terrible schedule.
Their schedule is manageable. Dude, I played them at 300-1 as a sprinkle to win the MAC, and I played them over 4.5.
Wait, you got them at 300-1?
Yeah.
Where did you find Akron at 300-1?
I think that's what I got in FanDuel, I think. I'll have to double check.
That's fucking awesome. Because I'm seeing like 43-50-1, dude.
Let me look. Let me look.
You got him at 300-1. That's incredible. But like Eric said, I mean, according to SP Plus, they're ranked 111th for returning production, which, as far as MAC is concerned, that's actually not really that bad. Most of the other MAC schools are like down in the 120s. So they're not doing too bad. I trust Moorhead, and they do have potentially the best quarterback in the entire league. I sense improvement on year 4 for Moorhead. I trust him. I wish teams. I guess that they can't. I understand that because they're trying to get money. Like these schools get buy games. I wish that the out of conference gave them at least a couple more wins, like maybe one more win.
I mean, but we don't know what Wyoming has.
We
really don't know, and that's at home. That's at
It is at home.
And we were both high on Wyoming last year. They completely were a dud. And we need to remember, like, with these schools that have like these great coaches, and we're going to talk about it when we talk about JMU, the further they get away from those coaches, the further the program deteriorates. Wyoming is not Boyle. Boyle's gone now. You know what I mean? Like the stuff he put there is gone. And Wyoming was a train wreck last year. Nebraska's Nebraska. No, I'm sorry, Jim.
I mean, that's forever ago, but they are not beating Nebraska.
I know, but they got UAB. I mean, they could beat UAB. And then you look at home in the MAC, they have CMU, Miami of Ohio, Kent State, and Bowling Green. That's not a murderous row. And we don't really know what Miami, Ohio is going to be like with the turnover they got. CMU, a new coach. Kent State's Kent State, and Bowling Green was a complete facelift.
I do like them here. I like Akron quite a bit. But again, I guess plus 105 on the over. Again, Wyoming, Nebraska, UAB. I hate that they go all the way till November before their first bye.
Yeah, and that is a little worrisome how they go Ball State, Buffalo, but that's not a big trip from Akron to Ball State. And there is some situational spots that they get in their schedule. Like I know when they play Buffalo, where is it when they play Buffalo? that's like a weird travel because Buffalo's going to UMass. They come home. It's just they got some travel advantages when you look at the other teams that they play. I'm going to gamble here. I think this MAC, this MAC conference of old in the portal is not going to be what it used to be before. Anyone who had a pulse is basically gone.
Are you doing the thing? Are you putting Akron to win the MAC?
Dude, I got 300. I bet him 300 to 1, dude.
When did you do that?
I did it last week when I was doing all this stuff. It's 300 to 1 on FanDuel.
What the fuck? How is FanDuel so much different than everyone else?
It's probably going to come back with a bad price, but
Let me take a quick look. Oh, come on, Jesus Christ!
they have the worst odds to win it all.
I thought Kent State had the worst odds.
No, on FanDuel they have the worst odds.
What the hell? Most other books aren't even offering Akron.
Yeah, and then who knows? Maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe they can't play in the conference game. Watch they can't play in a conference.
That would be very funny.
And I have to go cancel my bet.
What if it's not? What if you can't?
No, I'm looking at it right now. It says I can.
Oh, okay.
Akron play in MAC. You know what, dude? I'm gonna use AI.
You're gonna do it? You're gonna use AI for it? Let me see. I was looking at another one. When did the news come out that they were academically ineligible?
It's been a while.
Is FanDuel the only sports book that's offering Akron?
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, postseason ban. So I'm gonna scrap that. I am not on Akron 300.
There you go. There you go.
Scrap that, buddy. I am not on Akron 300 to 1 to win it all.
Oh yeah, FanDuel got rid of it too.
Boom, just cashed out.
Okay.
But I am on the over 4.5.
Yeah, I kind of like the over 4.5. Their schedule leans up pretty nicely. I just wish their buys. The last week buy is the worst buy, right?
Yeah,
If
but
not,
honestly, this is going to be the thing. Bowling Green's a train wreck this year.
You're on train wreck Bowling Green.
What?
You think Bowling Green's a train wreck?
Am I thinking about the right team?
I think we got a crazy rebuild.
Yeah. So my thing is this, dude. If Akron's season just goes to the tubes, they could easily lose those 2 games.
So obviously we don't know what to expect at UAB. Wyoming is the thing with Akron is the same thing you have with a lot of these MAC teams for me is a lot of their games are toss-ups. I've got 2 for sure wins. And in Duquesne and Kent State.
I got Bowling Green as a win. I mean, but there's just so much. I mean, I always looked. I think their ceiling's 8 wins. So
I do think their ceiling is potentially making it to a bowl game, which is hilarious because they won't make it to a bowl game. I know, six. So I have them at 6, 7 wins.
I think their ceiling's 8 and their floor is 2. So with that being said, I bet the over 4.5.
Backs against the wall. It's true. I like it. I'm not going to touch it, but I do like where Uncle Rico's head's at. I'm not touching that, though. Up next, Ball State. The Cardinals. Plus 7,000 to win the conference. Win total set at 3.5. Minus 140 on the over. Plus 110 on the under. I don't know, man. I think they're going to try and run the ball a lot. And a new head coach situation. Ball State's always been what in the MAC? They've been mid. They've been absolutely mid. This is a crazy reap. They've lost so much in the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, 28 starters coming back, 3 offense, 4 defense. Offensively, you got Kelly, who had 6 starts to close the season, will be the starting quarterback, brand new RPO system. There are going to be some growing pains early in the season as they adjust to the new scheme in the backfield. They rely on transfers from Purdue and Kennesaw State. Neither had much production at their previous stops, so it's tough to project what they'll bring to this offense, especially behind an offensive line that's replacing 4 starters. They go from 77 returning starts last year on the O-line to only 11 while learning a new scheme. Wide receiver room, complete reset. They're losing their top 5 pass catchers from last season. With all that turnover, the offense could really struggle to find rhythm, especially with how tough the early schedule is for them. Defensively, they're changing fronts, moving from a 4-3 to a 3-4, return just 1 starter up front. 5 transfers are expected to contribute right away. But let's be honest, this defense was bad last year, likely won't improve much. They also lost their top 2 linebackers, which is brutal when you're thin in the middle of the field. Secondary is more experienced than last year, but even there, they've only got 1 career start returning. If the front 7 can't generate pressure, it's going to be a real long year for the defense. Special teams, they lose both returners, their kicker and their punter. And what's left behind is a big unknown, major question marks in all phases of the kicking game. Full rebuild in Muncie, new coach, tons of new players, scheme changes on both sides of that ball. It's going to be a long season at Ball State.
According to SB Plus, they are ranked 134th in returning production, which puts them well at the bottom of the MAC.
I'm just looking forward to that Week 11 game against Kent State, dude.
That's going to be a shit show. I don't know, man. This team, I mean, again, historically, middle of the pack, decent MAC school, not good, not good, not bad. But everything has changed. So much has changed this season.
I mean, they got rid of their coach, I thought he was a good coach.
I thought he was decent.
Brutal last year. And, like, when you start off going to Purdue
and Auburn and UConn. Like, UConn's not going to be a bad team.
So, right there, you're 1-3 going into the bye. Coming out of the bye, you play Ohio, who's
Western.
Ohio, at Western, Akron at home, at NIU, another bye, Kent State, but Kent State's off a bye. Then you have Eastern, Toledo, and Miami to end the season.
That's a rough schedule.
When I look at it, I have their ceiling as 2 wins, their floor as none.
I have their absolute ceiling at 3. Because I could see them potentially knocking off a Western and Akron to Eastern.
Oh, yeah, Eastern's got Noah Kim, so.
Your boy.
Not my boy.
Dude,
boy.
Creighton will turn him around.
Creighton ain't turned around shit.
Creighton will turn him around. Yeah, I actually kind of like the under. Plus 110 makes me want to maybe dabble.
What's the number?
+1, it's 3.5.
Yeah, I like that under.
So at plus 110, I kind of like the under, just with the situation that they're in. It's tough. It's going to be real tough for them this season.
I think it's going to be a long year, buddy.
Up next, Eric's apparently least favorite team in the planet, the way I've talked with him about it. It's the Bowling Green, baby. Plus 900 to win the conference. Win total is set at 6.5, plus 150 on the over, minus 190 on the under. I think they're okay in the quarterback position. I think losing Basilak sucks, but I think they're going to be all right. They won't fall like too far. And I don't know, man. New coach probably hurts a bit.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. New coach probably hurts a bit. Like, what was it, 3-4 years we were all laughing at Scott Loeffler, and then he kind of built this team into what they've been. And now they sort of had to reset, push that button. I don't know if I love this team at all. I'm kind of with Uncle Rico. As much as I've been dogging him on him, I think they'll be close.
I did run into Eddie George a couple years ago at the draft. Fun dude. Like the guy a lot. Fun dude.
So we're rooting for him.
34 returning, 5 offense, 1 defense. Prine set to be QB1, played at Notre Dame, Arizona State, and Missouri. So here's the question. He brings more experience than what they had last year. But this is his 4th goddamn stop. And it's at Bowling Green. Running back room, massive question mark. They lost their top 3. It looks like McMillan, a transfer from Northeast Mississippi Community College, will be the starter. We simply don't know what we're going to get for him. And look, anytime a MAC program loses an All-American like they did at the tight end position with Fannin, they're going to struggle.
It's going to be real tough.
On top of that, they lose their top 2 wide receivers. Their leading returner is Hogan, and he just had 176 yards last season. They brought in 6 transfers at wide receiver, but there's no clear option 1, which puts pressure on Pine to carry the offense. Their one strength, the offensive line. 4 stars returned, combined for 117 career starts, maybe the best offensive line in the MAC. If this unit's going to work, it's because of the group up front. Defensively, they're losing a ton. All-conference nose guard. Hawks, Browns, sad. 4 key backups are gone. Even if George lives up to the hype, this unit is almost guaranteed to take a step back. In the middle of the field, they lost their top 6 linebackers, including another all-conference player. They did add a Lapron from Dayton, but I don't really think that's enough to stabilize the group. And in the secondary, they lose 2 more all-conference guys, 7 transfers coming in to fill the gaps. This is a full-blown rebuild on defense. It's a total facelift from last year's unit. So I just read all that. That is an all-conference player at every level of the floor for defense.
Pretty tough.
Overall, they lost a ton of talent, including multiple all-conference players, an All-American, and in the fact that former head coach is gone. Now you got Eddie George stepping up, who at Tennessee State was 24-22. And the schedule sucks, dude.
It's not good.
It's hard to like the under. I mean, when we just look at it, okay, you got Lafayette at home. Rah, that's a win. Okay. You got Liberty. You go at Cincinnati. I think that's going to be an L. You got Liberty.
Oh, dude, they're going 1-4 into their bye week.
You got Liberty. You got Louisville, who's coming off of a bye. You go into the bye. You're like, great. We're going to play Toledo. Toledo's going to be up. Oh, shit. Toledo's coming off a bye, too.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go play Central Michigan. Oh, guess what? Central Michigan's coming off of a bye.
So, dude, they get so many teams off of byes this season.
And then they go at Kent State, Buffalo, who's tough, play at Eastern, who's off a bye.
Who's also, like, as bad as, even if Eastern's not very good, they still, play hard and beat the hell out of you.
Crane's a good coach. I mean, They did lose their offensive line coach, so it's going to be interesting to see how that group feels.
They still, they still play tough. They suck to play.
It is hard not to like the under here.
I got 3 wins, 4 at most.
It is hard. Yeah, it is definitely hard not to like this under, my friend.
Eric, can you name me a team, according to SP Plus, that has more returning defensive production than Bowling Green?
Everybody?
Correct. They are ranked 136 out of 136 teams for returning defensive production.
Jesus, dude. How fucking awful is Bowling Green?
They're 96 on offense, though, which isn't terrible in the MAC.
Which isn't bad.
So, you know what we should be doing?
What?
Look to be betting some early Bowling Green overs.
Some overs. That's a good call.
Yeah, look to bet some overs for Bowling Green. Because I think their quarterback play, and yes, losing an all-world tight end sucks.
All world, everything.
Yeah, best tight end in the country. It's gonna hurt, but I still think their offense will be able to have some production. They will not be able to stop anyone on defense. The under is calling my name, but it's Eric. It's minus 190.
Yeah, that's a hard no for me, Coach.
Can't bring myself to do it. The gym of 2024 would have been all over that under.
The old gym, the new gym.
The gym of 2025, though, new leaf, not touching it. We move on to the city of Buffalo, the Buffalo Bulls, plus 550 to win the MAC, over under of 7.5 for the win total, minus 110 on the over, minus 120 on the under, which means, Eric, we're not playing a win total.
Offensively, look, returning 41, 7 on offense, 9 on defense.
Love the running back room.
Turning to K-State transfer Robinson, former 4-star recruit, now in his 4th college stop, though. But to be fair, he did look solid last time he started at UConn. Anytime I see a quarterback like this that's transferred multiple times, I raise some questions. Cook is gone. Washington returns after taking over the lead back last season, finishing with over 1,000 yards. They got Snow and McMillan to have some depth. At wide receiver, this could be the best duel in the MAC with Hartley and Carey, both explosive. But the question is, can Robertson get him the ball consistently? Offensive line looks steady again.
I love this. I think this might be the best offensive line in the MAC, Eric.
They should be able to lean on the run game. But all it comes down is what are we going to get from Roberson, the quarterback? Like, for me, that's my big hesitation here. Is he going to be something? And I'm just hesitant because this is his 4th fucking team, dude. You know what I mean?
I think he just needs to be decent for this team to, like, actually compete for the conference, though. Because this defense is going to be great. I love this defense for Buffalo.
I do too, man.
I've got 2 futures in this conference, and guess what? Buffalo's one of them.
Big boost up front. Stewart and Crawford return along with a few key rotational pieces. Middle of the field, things are going to get dicey. They lose Patterson. They lose an all linebacker in Dolik, the program's first team all-conference defender. That's tough. You got McMillan. You got an Ivy League transfer coming in. The secondary, they had Greer from Shepherd, a D2 All-American. Is he going to be able to get into the MAC level? Special teams, major concern. They lose both their kicker and their punter. We all know how these coin flip MAC games come down to. They bring in Jack Howes from Maryland, 24 for 35 in field goal questions. But the big question is, why is he transferring here? With how bad the kicking games are, why here? A lot to like about this team. The offensive line, the wide receivers, the defensive front, all hinges on the QB. With all that being said, I'm right with you, man. I like them to win the MAC. What number did you get, my friend?
I got 550. What'd you get?
I have to look, dude. I did not.
I love how their schedule works out too, especially in conference. Not having to play Toledo, not having to play NIU. Like they play Miami, which is tough. They play Ohio, but
I think it's a down year for Ohio, dude.
I mean, even on a down year, I still think Ohio's like a pretty good school.
And I mean, like how they finish. I mean, it's with how they finish. Like, look, I know Miami and Ohio people are high on. I'm not high on them, but by taking a future with them, with how they finish, easy chance to kind of hedge if you're a little bit worried about it too. So
just a little spoiler, I took one sort of long shot and then one sort of favorite. This is my sort of favorite team. I got Buffalo at plus 550. Love this team.
This is the only team I did, dude.
I did 2 teams. I'll see if Eric can guess the next one. I'm
gonna say NIU.
Damn, you right on it. Attaboy. Attaboy. I don't know. What do you think opening week against Minnesota for Buffalo?
Minnesota's lost a lot, dude.
I know.
I think that could be a sneaky game, dude. Sneaky game.
I'm gonna be keeping my eye on that one. I also love that they get Troy at home. They could be going undefeated. If they're going undefeated in the bye, I'm sitting real good.
UConn is a winnable game. Eastern's a winnable game. After it, at UMass, at Akron, at Bowling Green.
Oh yeah, Akron at home.
Oh yeah, sorry. So I mean,
at UMass, Akron, at Bowling Green.
You know, then they got CMU, but CMU's off of a bye. Miami, Ohio. Look, I got this team winning 9.
Let me do. You want a little fun bet, Eric?
Oh, are you gonna bet him to make the fucking?
I'm not going to bet him to do it. I just want to tell you the odds. I just want to let you know what the odds are.
To make the playoff. Can you imagine if Buffalo made the playoffs? They're getting 17.5 at Minnesota. That's a bet for me, man.
Okay, let's see. Plus, they're 100 to 1.
100 to 1.
100 to 1 to make the playoff. Throw some sandwich money on it.
Throw a little Sandy money on it, dude.
$5-6.
Okay.
$600.
Why not? I'll do it, Jim.
I mean, it really comes down to like if they can like get through this opening schedule, and then obviously not drop a conference game. What was the last MAC team to go undefeated? Was it Western Michigan?
That flex season when
that flex season. And that team probably would have made the playoffs.
Oh yeah, for sure. They made it to a BCS game.
So all they got to do, their schedule is doable at 100 to 1. I'll take it. Because I'm banking on like a Boise to drop a game or two. So you're basically just betting on this team to go 12-0.
Yeah. But then that's the thing. You gotta, if they lose a game, they're not gonna make it. So you got to see what is their odds to go undefeated.
Let me take a look at that.
You know what I mean? Like that's the bet right there. Like what one has better odds?
Well, if DraftKings offered it, if they weren't fucking cowards. Yeah, if you could find their odds to go undefeated, probably that might be better.
Yeah.
But 100 to 1, I mean, sandwich money. That's all I'm saying. Sandwich money.
Nice little Sandy money.
Nice little Sandy money. Up next, Central Michigan, the Chippewas. Plus 2,000 to win the MAC. Over under win total is set at 5.5 with a plus 110 on the over, minus 140 on the under. I believed in this team. I think I remember I was on this team last year, and then injuries just killed them.
And
it was brutal.
You look at their offense, returning 3, defense 70. Lapis is back at quarterback, but you mentioned it. The big question is, can he stay healthy? There's virtually no depth behind him, as Jefferson and Emmanuel are both gone. That leaves Gasser, who's very limited passing. Backfield also took a massive hit. They lost their top 3. They're going to rely on a Tulane transfer to step in, be the lead guy. Head coach Paul Drinkle is very high in this group, but I'll be honest, I really don't see it. At wide receiver, they lost their top 7. The one bright spot, Davis is back after missing all of last year. He'll be relied on to be the quote-unquote chain mover we talk about. He's really the only piece Chippewa fans should be excited about on this side of the ball. Offensive line, complete overhaul. They basically lose 4 starters, including an all-conference guy. They're bringing in 4 transfers from the FCS and D2 level. Now, look, Drinkle, fantastic offensive line coach, but that's a lot to fix in one offseason. This unit is likely to struggle. Defensive line, solid last season, but with 2 starters gone, it may take a step back. The strength of the defense is a linebacker whose name I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce. He was second team all conference. The secondary is actually something to be optimistic about. Yes, they did use Kent, who is all conference. They're bringing in 3 transfers who are eligible right away to step in and contribute. On paper, this unit could be special, more athletic, more size. Special teams, this is where things really start to fall apart. They're losing their kicker, punter, and both returners. New kicker is a walk-on who made the team through tryouts. This might be the worst special team unit in the MAC, and that is really saying something. Overall, the early season schedule is brutal. If they don't survive it, things can go off the rails fast. But if they can weather the storm, the in-conference road schedule is manageable. They could steal a couple wins.
I love their bye week placement, too.
Could F around and get to 6 wins. But we need the big thing with them, and we talked about it, was their injuries.
Mm-hmm.
So when we look at their schedule, San Jose State, that game's on the road. So they go all the way out west.
And then all the way out east to Pitt.
Go all the way, and then they fly back to Mount Pleasant, which means they fly back to Lansing and take a train and take the bus hour up to Mount Pleasant. Then they practice. Then they're going to go all the way out to Pitt.
Then all the way back.
All the way back. Take that bus ride up to Mount Pleasant. Then take that 3-hour bus ride down to Ann Arbor. This team, but that's a lot of travel.
That's
but
so much
again,
travel.
this team could get the living shit kicked out of them in 3 weeks, and it could be the same thing. And then you play Wagner, win. You play EMU, who historically,
it's always a tough game.
Bringing teams are good in the trenches. At Akron, you and I are a little bit high on them. Then you get Bowling Green, UMass off of the bye. Rivalry game at Western. Another bye. You got Buffalo at home. Great. But Buffalo's coming off of a bye. Then at Kent State, and then Toledo to end. And who knows what's going on with Toledo at that point. So I mean,
what I put down here, Eric, for Central Michigan, I do like the way their defense is going to look this year. That might mean is I might just play some unders because I'm not going to be super fan of this offense. And then going through the MAC just in general, how many like first or second year coaches are there in this conference this season?
a ton.
It feels like a lot.
But I mean, like, I mentioned their conference schedule on the road. Akron, Bowling Green, Kent State, and Western Michigan.
Yeah.
All winnable games.
So, like, that's what I had. So I had 2 definitive wins on their schedule, and then it's toss-up city. Like, I mean, Eastern's a toss-up, Western's a toss-up, Bowling Green's a toss-up.
I think 5-7, 6-6 is realistic for this team.
I think that's near the ceiling, though.
I think, yeah.
But the under's minus 140. If it's 6-6, 5.5, you taking that plus 110?
I'm doing nothing there, dude.
I'm not touching this team.
Nothing.
Like, there's a realistic shot that they are 1-5 going into their bye week.
I'm not gonna lie. I always go through everyone's schedule. I have them. Best case scenario is 3-3.
I'm gonna put this team at 4-8 on the season.
I put them at 5-7.
Bet them at 4-8. Up next, probably my favorite team in the MAC, Eastern Michigan, the Eagles, baby, plus 3,000 to win the MAC. Win total set at 4.5, minus 105 on the over, minus 125 on the under. I'm just gonna say it, 4.5. I'm gonna bet the over. It's Chris Creighton. It's what he does.
I'm just gonna say it. Noah Kim is the starting quarterback, and honestly, that might be all you need to know. Flat out brutal at Michigan State and Coastal Carolina. If he hasn't taken a massive leap now, he never will. This offense is going to be stuck in neutral. Now, the running back group, that's a little bit of a different story. You have Green, like a Thunder-style running back, Lightning with Jointer from Arkansas, Dunlop from Michigan. Add to that, Lockett, who returns. Like, you got a lot of pieces here in this backfield. Wide receiver Rooks comes in to pair with Lockett. Together, they give Tim decent weapons to work with. No surprise here, Creighton has built another strong offensive line. In fact, this may be one of the better offensive lines he's had here. Several key pieces return. Bustard wins his eligibility appeal. This unit could really be elite. So the run game, weapons, O-line, all solid, all comes down to Noah Kim, and I just don't trust Noah Kim. Ramirez is long gone, and while defensive lineman Martin is a stud in returns, he is the lone threat up front. Opposing lines are going to look to double him unless someone steps up. That's a big question mark. Linebackers will be better. They brought in Clemente from Elon. While this group is less experienced than last year's, they do have some upside. Wouldn't shock me if it becomes solid mid part of the season. Secondary was one of the worst in the country last season, just brutal. They returned 2 starters, and frankly, they have to be better. They can literally can't not get any worse. Special teams, they lose Gomez. They bring in Gilbert, who made the SEC all-freshman team at Missouri. I expect no drop-off here. But again, why is he going to EMU? You know what I mean? Anytime I see these, but you know what I mean?
I get what you mean.
Anytime I see these guys, why are they going to EMU? Is like Max Crosby throwing this kid the bag?
He might be.
Overall, schedule is brutal. They don't have a bye week until November 1st.
This schedule is
The
awful.
start of MAC play is tough. They're less experienced than last season. They don't have a quarterback. If the quarterback was better, I'd be intrigued. Strong offensive line, weapons at the skill spots. But Noah Kim under center, it just really caps their season. I think if they win 5 games here, I think it's amazing. But when you look at it, at Texas State, now Texas State did lose a lot, but they are Texas State, tough play to play. I think that's going to be a loss. At Kentucky, Louisiana is good. At CMU, at Buffalo, NIU, at Miami of Ohio, and Ohio. And then you don't have your bye until week 10.
Yeah, no bye until November is crazy.
That is brutal. And then off the bye, you get Bowling Green, Ball State, and then another bye, then Western. After the bye, they should win out. But, I mean, they could be going in the bye with 2 wins.
Is Toledo the only, like, top MAC team that they miss out on?
Yeah.
I guess
And
depending on how you view
mid-majors,
Akron, too.
like,
You know,
look,
you could argue
like
Akron.
Louisiana, that's one of the favorites in the Fun Belt. Texas State, one of the favorites in the Fun Belt.
Yep.
So,
my take, Eric, my take for this team is I'm not touching the win total. I'll probably be betting them because they'll be a dog in just about every game, and especially in MAC play. Eastern Michigan is a dog. I'm going to bet them ATS every game.
we'll see.
Dude, I mean that's like Creighton as a dog versus Creighton as a favorite. It's just what I put it on my automatic. It's my auto bet.
Auto bid.
It's auto bet right now. That's where I'm at with Eastern Michigan. If they're short dogs in the MAC,
Just an auto.
auto bet.
Okay.
Speaking of which, time for an auto fade team. It's Kent State, baby. The Kent State Golden Flashes. 300-1 to win the MAC. Win total is 1.5. Minus 180 on the over, plus 144 on the under. I think Kent State is once again in the running for worst team in the FBS. Eric, SP Plus has them ranked. Take a guess.
Worst.
136 out of 136 teams. This team is going to stink. They're also, just as a fun little fact, they're currently on a 21-game losing streak.
Love it. Montz transfers in from Fordham to be the starting quarterback. Hasn't played since 2022. But when he did, 23 TDs, just 1 interception, massive numbers. The question is, can he be productive at this level of football? At running back, they lost their top 4. Garcia is returning from injury. Nuban transferring from Minnesota, where he rushed for 559 in 2023. There's potential, but the big concern is what they're going to be running behind. Offensive line is rough. They allowed 41 sacks, 2.4 yards per carry last year. They added in 5 transfers, but only one of them had starting experience. Will it be better? Technically, yes, but that's not saying much. Still the worst O-line in the MAC. At wide receiver, same story I've been telling for years. Who's the chain mover? They lose their top 2 pass catchers, bringing in 3 FCS transfers. No clear alpha group, lacks explosiveness and identity. Defensive line was a disaster last season, allowing the most yards per carry in the conference. They lose everyone. It's a complete overhaul, but truthfully, it can only go up. Linebackers likely will be the best unit on defense, but really, is that saying much? They're solid, but not game changers. Secondary, one of the worst in college football last season. They're losing everyone here too, and technically it should improve, but expectations should be rock bottom. Special teams, one of the worst in the country last season. They lost their kicker, punter, and both returner. So yes, even this unit can improve. Overall, this is a mess. Head coach Burns was fired during camp. Kearney steps in as an intern, tasked with leading a group that might be the worst in college football. To make matters worse, the defensive coordinator just left to take an FCS assistant job. That tells you everything. Like, honestly, like, if Kearney gets 1 conference win, like 1, he could arguably be coach of the year in the conference.
He could get 1.
I mean, like,
They do play UMass. That's the one, right?
Or maybe they play Akron at the end of the year if the wheels fall off for Akron.
Or like one of those MAC makes no sense games and they just beat NIU before NIU goes to play for the MAC championship.
What's going to be the spread when they're at Oklahoma with Oklahoma coming off the bye?
Oh, fucking 50 points.
You look at this. They go at Texas Tech. They're going to play in Texas, be exhausted, come back, play Buffalo, get mad, just beat up, then go play FSU, get beat up, bye, go play Oklahoma, get beat up.
That's a waste of a bye.
And then they have to go play UMass. And I know you're saying it's UMass, but after just playing Oklahoma,
I don't know any other team that
you know what I mean? And then
what was Kent State's closest game last year?
They were leading someone in the second half, I think.
Ball State. They lost 35-37. You want me to go through the schedule of last year, Eric, what they had?
Mm-hmm.
Pitt, 55-24. St. Francis, an FCS school. They lost 23-17. Tennessee, 71-0. Penn State, 56-0. Eastern Michigan, 52-33. Ball State, 37-35. 27-6, Bowling Green. Western Michigan, 52-21. Ohio, 41-0. Miami, 34-7. 38-17 for Akron. None of these games except for one were even competitive.
It's brutal, dude.
Kent State will be the worst team in the FBS. I wouldn't even be surprised, Eric, if somehow they lose to Merrimack.
That'd be hilarious, dude.
1.5, you know what I'm going to do? Plus 140, I'll bet that under.
So, people are talking, I'm looking on this tweet thing, this Twitter device. This guy was like, Toledo should honestly look into a football-only move to the Mountain West Conference, park the rest of the sports in Missouri Valley.
Why?
Because Mountain West they're getting $6 million. NIU's getting $6 million for going there. If Toledo moves, the MAC is just dead, dude.
I hope Toledo doesn't do it. Don't kill the MAC.
They're going to need to keep UTA. They're going to have to go after Western Kentucky. And this is a whole different story. I'm not even going to get into that. I'm not going to get into it, Jim. Let's just move on.
Don't get into conference realignment just yet, Eric. It's my least favorite thing to talk about with college football. Up next, Miami of Ohio. The Red Hawks. Plus 650 to win the conference. Over, under, win total set at 6. Huh?
I had UMass next. Sorry.
Well, I think alphabetically they're U.
Oh, I just have Mass.
No, we're going to Miami,
buddy.
Eric.
It's okay, buddy. Let me get my notes in order.
Plus 650, win total 6.5, plus 110 to the over, minus 140 on the under. Obviously, love the head coach. I feel like Uncle Rico should love the head coach as well.
Miami?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love the mentality. I like the quarterback they got right now. Defense this year, I think, is going to still be pretty decent. They lose a lot on offense.
Returning one starter, 5 defensive starters. But Finn is transferring in. He will be the QB1. After things didn't go to plan at Baylor, where he just started 2 games, he returns to the MAC. Can he recapture the 2023 form when he was with Toledo? The running back room, big question mark. Mose, who rushed for over 1,000 yards last season, an impressive 6.2 yards per carry. Davis, who averaged over 6.6 yards a carry as well. Tracy is back, expected to be the starter. Last season, he suffered an undisclosed injury before the season began. It was really weird. They announced that he suffered an injury. And, you're losing 2 guys that averaged over 6 yards a carry. And they announced he had an injury, but they never said what it was, and he missed the whole year. So the whole thing's really weird. If he's healthy, he's going to be the alpha here. Wide receiver, the production last year was minimal. Perry and Weaver are the top returners. They have transfers from Notre Dame, Florida State, and Washington. That's some playmaking potential, but the key question is who's going to be the chain mover? The offensive line, biggest concern. They lost everyone up front, entered the season with 0 career starts along the line. Calling this unit inexperienced is an understatement. Defensively up front, they're losing 4 players, including a first-team all-conference defensive end. So expected to take a step back. Middle of the field is also a concern. 2 all-conference linebackers are gone. Secondary, however, could be the team's best unit. Has the potential to be one of the better ones in the MAC. But with today's pass-heavy offenses, if the front can't generate pressure, secondary will get exposed. They lost Double D on the special teams. They lost their punter, but Double D will be taking over kicking and punting duties. Believe it or not, this could be an upgrade in the punting game. I expect some improvement on the special teams. The schedule is tough. Road trips to Wisconsin, Rutgers to start, plus UNLV, then finishing up with Ohio, Toledo, and Buffalo is a brutal schedule. There's upside, though. If Finn returns to form, they could be something, but there's offensive line questions, running back health. There a lot of red flags here. Flags.
So, in a close game situation, I like what Miami's shown in the past. I like their special teams. I just worry that they could get behind, and the offense won't be able to keep up.
Finn's good, but
Finn is good.
He was very limited. We need to remember this was a team that was in a position to be that team that made it into the college, whatever, like the BCS, the Bitasit, the Bowl Six, whatever it used to be called. They were winning at Illinois, completely blew that game of 2 years ago with Finn as the quarterback for Toledo. But when we look at the schedule, going to Wisconsin, going to Rutgers, you're going to get your asses kicked those games. Then you play UNLV, Lindenwood. Then you have back-to-back road games against NIU and Akron. Then you have EMU and Western at home, with Western coming off a bye. Then you get your bye. Then you get your second bye. Then off of the bye, you play Ohio, Toledo, and Buffalo.
Like 3 of the best teams in the conference.
It's just a brutal ride. Just a brutal schedule. I think 5 is the ceiling here. I think they're going to be fighting.
They're going to be fighting for a bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. They're going to be fighting for a bowl all season long. I don't know, man. It's just, like Eric said, brutal start and brutal finish. In the middle, if they can get some wins here, they'll be fighting tooth and nail for a bowl game. Ugh. Tough look. Up next, baby. NIU. Northern Illinois. Plus 1,200 to win the MAC. Win total set at 6.5. Plus 130 on the over. Minus 165 on the under. You know what? They lose a decent amount. Especially on the O-line and the defense. I think their schedule is lovely, though. I think their schedule is fan-fucking-tastic. I love the coach. I love this team. I love the over, and I love the plus 1,200. They're making the MAC kiss their ass on the way out.
Horace is back under center, worked his way up to the starter last season, looked decent against Ball State and Toledo before getting hurt. Hampton took over as a starter to close out the year, but Hoyce led them to the bowl win. He's serviceable, but honestly, I don't fully trust his accuracy on throws. Running room depends on Johnson. He missed the first 7 games last season, but was a stud down the stretch. The big question mark, can he handle the wear and tear of a full season? Wide receiver, last group, lacked a true chain mover. This year looks similar. The coaching staff is high in this group, but I'm not convinced there is a true game changer. Biggest concern on offense is the offensive line. This is less experience in previous years, only 27 career starts. Now, given how important the offensive line is in the system, the inexperience could really hold them back from running the ball. The defensive front is going to take a hit. They're losing their starting nose tackle, 2 all-conference players, 3 backups, puts a lot of pressure on Murray, a transfer from UT Barnes produced. Middle of the field, they lost all 3 starters and are cutting on transfers to fill those rows, but I'm not particularly high in any of them. The secondary lost a lot of experience, will be young and inexperienced. Even a good pass rush probably won't be able to cover up the holes in the back end. Special teams are losing their kicker, punter, and special teams coordinator. They bring back Gatz from Kent State as their new kicker, and a redshirt sophomore with 0 game kicks will handle the punting. So I said Kent State had the worst special teams unit in the country last year, and they're relying on Kent State's kicker to be their new kicker. Overall, NIU is the second youngest team in the MAC with question marks all over the floor. New special teams coordinator, a lot of holes on defense. I think this team is going to struggle mightily. I have their ceiling. I have their ceiling at 5.
Their ceiling at 5.
I mean, because beat Holy Cross, but Holy Cross is a good FCS team historically.
Yes.
At Maryland's a loss. At Mississippi State, I think that's going to be a loss.
They could win that one.
San Diego State, loss. Well, dude, the San Diego State, we have to remember, that's the old Kent State coach.
Oh, yeah.
Are they going to?
He knows these teams.
Are they? You know what I mean? Is he going to be? How can I word this? With how fast they're going to play, is an inexperienced defense after just playing against SEC level talent going to have enough stamina to keep up? You know what I mean? Then they have Miami of Ohio, at EMU, at Ohio, Ball State, finally get a bye. Oh, hey, we're playing Toledo. Toledo's off a bye. When they play Ohio, Ohio's off a bye. At UMass, Western Michigan, Kent State. I think 5 wins is their ceiling, man. I think this is a tough schedule.
I bet the over. I think they could beat Mississippi State. San Diego State's going to be a tough game. I think they split those. But I like them against Miami. I like them against Eastern. Historically, they never. Have they lost to Eastern? I don't think in this decade. In a decade. I like them against Ohio. Historically, really good against Ohio. Like them against Ball State. So in between the byes, I have them losing 1 game. And
in between the byes,
Toledo maybe, but then they beat
I have them
Western
losing
Michigan, Kent
4.
State.
I have them beating Ball State and Miami of Ohio.
I got them at 3 losses. I got them at 9-3. This might be our biggest disagreement.
Okay.
I got them at 9-3, baby. Plus 1,200 to win the MAC. Give it to me.
Respect you, man.
Up next, the Ohio Bobcats. Plus 280 to win the conference. Win total is 7.5. Plus 100 on the money line. Minus 130 on the under. Plus 100 on the over. I said money line for some reason. It's very hot in this room.
It's getting hot in here.
They got a decent amount of returning production, at least on offense. Their offensive returning production is pretty darn good. Defense, not so much. I think, what was their returning production numbers on defense? According to SP Plus, they are sitting at, Eric, can you guess? 94 returning production. They're 94th returning production. 90th on, 55th on offense, 120th on defense for returning production in the country.
So I'm looking at it right now. 20 return 29, 7 offensive, 3 defensive.
Yeah.
Now, when we look back at last season, this is the thing I find really weird. Okay. When you look at the quarterback play last year, the quarterback started conference play, but he didn't play most of the non-conference play.
Correct.
Were they just doing that to keep him healthy? You know what I mean? Are they going to do the same thing here? Are they going to say, you know what? We got Western Michigan, we got Ohio State. Are we just going to focus on conference play? Because that's a big thing. If they don't have their QB1, their running back who transferred to Minnesota, Aurora, I just totally butchered that. Didn't plan out at Minnesota. Is he back? He put up solid numbers in 2022 and 2023, so his return could help this position. Last year, I was pretty down on the Bobcats, mainly because they lost their top 7 wide receivers. I didn't see a reliable chain mover, but Snyder transferred in, ended up with his first 1,000-yard receiving. Now he's with the Colts. Can Hendricks, who had a solid season, become the chain mover? I'm not sure. Offensive line is taking a step backwards, losing 2 second-team all-conference players along with the right tackle and right guard. They're bringing in Rhodes from Rhode Island, but honestly, I'm not impressed. The defensive line was dominant last season, allowing just 91 yards per game, but they lost everyone, including an all-conference player in Weaver. Bringing in 5 transfers, I expect this group to take a huge step backwards. Middle of the field, same boat, a lot of questions, unproven players at this level. The secondary will be the strength of the defense. It will be the strength of the defense. They are losing 3 starters, but the transfers coming in are the cream of the crop. They'll take a dip, but not nearly as much as the other units. Special teams could be a nightmare. They've got a sophomore kicker from UCF who's never attempted a kick in a game, a freshman punter, and lost Owen from the return team. Lots of question marks here. Last year was magical, winning the MAC despite losing so much. Albin's gone. Smith is a new coach. That's a huge downgrade. They lost a lot.
Hard to repeat in the MAC, dude. Hard to repeat.
Lost a lot of talent, especially on defense. Question marks all over. I'm on the under 7.5, Jimmy. I have their ceiling at 7 wins.
So under 7.5 is minus 130 right now.
Oh, geez, I got minus 110.
Yeah, so it's plus 100 to the over right now, minus 130 on the under. I also like the under here. I'm not going to be betting it. I'll be looking to be betting some overs probably in these Ohio games. Again, going to the bye week, they get maybe 2 wins? Between Rutgers, West Virginia, Ohio State, Gardner Webb, Bowling Green, Ball State, I think they get maybe 2. Maybe?
They could win 3, but Ball State's coming off a bye on week 6.
And then NIU at EMU, they could drop both of those. I think they get Eastern Michigan. I think they win that game. But and then to end the season, Miami at Western, UMass, Buffalo.
I mean, I'm looking at it.
1, 2, 3. I got about 5, maybe 6 wins. Probably, again.
I think 7 is their ceiling.
I agree with you. I think 7's their absolute ceiling. So, not touching Ohio. It's hard to follow up a magical season in the MAC back-to-back.
Yeah,
Up next, Eric. The Toledo Rockets, plus 240 to win the conference. Win total set at 8.5, minus 115 both ways. Again, you talk about Toledo every year. Consistently, they will have the most talent in the conference. And this year's they have the most returning production in the conference by far. They're 34th in returning production. They have a pretty good MAC schedule coming up. They'll always be king of the crop. It's just whether or not they can avoid having a meltdown, and can Jason Candle kind of steady this ship and make them go through a whole season. Because every season they don't win the MAC, in my opinion, is a disappointing season. It should be a disappointing season.
100%. 100%. We're looking at it, returning 43, 8 on offense, 5 on defense. Gleason is back at quarterback after a solid season, 2,800 yards, 61 completion, 24 TDs, 8 interceptions. He can move, which is a key to the offense. Now, the wide receiver room is loaded. They did lose Newton, who was all conference, but added Rudolph from NIU, Peterson, a tight end from Holy Cross, alongside with Vandross, who Coach Candle says is one of the top wide receivers in the MAC. Last year, I was down on Toledo because of the turnover in the offensive line. Boy, I was wrong. They bring back 4 starters, a unit that only allowed 20 sacks last season with 42 career starts combined. This line should be just as good. Defense, I'm really worried about the loss up front. Alexander, a 3rd-round pick, is gone. We've seen this before in the MAC, how there could be a big drop off when you lose an NFL caliber player, along with losing other 3 starters. Huge step. Big transfer addition is done from MSU, but he only had 3 starts at State. When a Power 5 drive drops down to the MAC, I always wonder why. Why are they taking bad money? Because Toledo's not backing up the NIU truck. Middle of the field will struggle as well. They lost their top 3 linebackers, adding 2 Power 4 but this unit's going to take a step backwards. In the secondary, Warren is a stud and will likely be the latest Toledo defensive back to get drafted. They have 3 stars returning on scrubly the strength of the defense. Special team, they lost their kicker, whose leg was good beyond 40, but the returner, Stuart Cunningham, is back. I don't expect this unit to take a step back. Overall, a lot of hype around Toledo, potentially being that group of 5 team in the college football power playoffs.
Speaking of which, Eric, plus 1,800, just so you're aware.
I'm looking at it. But the thing is this, dude. If they go to Kentucky and lose by 25.
Oh, they're done. Like, again, like, for the MAC teams in particular, the MAC teams to make the playoffs have to go undefeated. Because what you're not going to take, even at 11-1, depending on how that loss is to Kentucky, I think people will still favor like a 10-2 Boise, or
also
like a 10-2 like a Tulane.
Hypothetically, you beat Kentucky. It's week 9. You go to Washington State and you lose at Washington State.
Yeah,
you're done. It's just like you hit the nail on the head. You're probably better off playing them to go undefeated or because they're going to be dogs in both games. Just do a rollover parlay on by yourself, betting the money line at Kentucky, then rolling that over with the money line at Washington State.
Toledo, actually, Eric, so here, DraftKings offers both. To make the playoffs is plus 1,800.
Yeah.
Undefeated regular season plus 1,600.
Oh, so make the playoffs.
You do have to have the conference championship game also added to that, though. So
that's true.
Depending on what your risk factor is.
You know what, Jim? Let's play guess that line.
Toledo, Kentucky? I guess it's Toledo, Kentucky?
You are playing.
Kentucky minus 10.5.
It is, dude, Jimmy, 10.5 on the dot, dude. Look at you sly son of a bitch, dude. Jimmy, just coming off hot, dude.
Toledo get him back to back.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, obviously this team's going to be good. 8.5, whatever. I'm not betting either way just because it's minus 115 at plus 240 to win the conference. I don't like that number. I like this team a lot. They have a lot of talent. They're going to be good. They're going to be top of the conference again. But they slip up somewhere every season.
Yeah.
My question to you is, where do you think they slip up?
At UMass.
They don't. They don't.
Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong one, dude. Jesus, I'm looking at Western Michigan, dude. Sorry.
They don't play UMass, buddy.
Sorry, dude. Where they slip up? At Miami of Ohio.
Yeah, I'm gonna say at Miami or NIU, or maybe even both, like latter of the season. Either way, don't like this team. Expect another disappointing season. They could very easily still play for the conference championship, and I would not be surprised though.
Yeah.
Now it's time for your UMass team, Eric.
Finally, dude. The Minutemen, dude.
The Minutemen. Plus 8,000 to win the conference. Win total set at 3.5. Minus 160 on the over. Plus 125 on the under. Guess what? They're the second worst returning production in the conference. They're the second worst projected SB Plus team of the season.
All right,
they're not going to be good.
Let me talk on UMass. They're returning 40, 4 on offense, 4 on defense. Brandon Rose is transferring in from Utah, and yes, that's an upgrade of what has been in Amherst before. Rough year at the quarterback position. Rose finally gives them stability. The entire running back room is growing. Stepping in is Rocco Griffin from UTSA. Hasn't played since 2022, but if he's healthy, I think he could have a solid year, especially because he's going to be running behind what might be one of the best offensive lines UMass has had in years. They're bringing in experienced guys from Harvard, Dartmouth, transfers from Western Michigan, West Virginia, and Northwestern. This group has size and depth, and it has NFL-level coaching with Kurt Anderson leading this group. I'm telling you, dude, this offensive line is going to be better. At wide receiver, they got playmakers, but the key is whether Rose can build chemistry with any of them. If this connection clicks, this offense could surprise some people. Defensive line just had 16 sacks last year. Not good, but they've added Nobes, who had 10 by himself last season. Big time upgrade in the rush potential. Still, the concern is stopping the run. They gave up chunks on the ground that may continue unless someone steps up. But if you have to focus your attention on Nobes, that's going to open up and allow these guys to have better matchups to stop the run. Linebacker play should be better. They return some with experience. Secondary, one of the worst in college football last year. But they're bringing in 5 transfers, 4 of which were full-time starters elsewhere. I think they can make the jump to the FCS level, from the FCS level to the group of 5. Special teams, they lost their kicker and their punter, but the replacements are actually better. Wild stat last season. UMass didn't even have a special teams coordinator. They have one this year. So they actually have someone focusing on the room. Overall, UMass has been the punchline of college football for years. Roster legit upgrades, especially in the trenches. If this defense gels, it could be sneaky. They've got manageable road games this year. At Western, CMU, Akron, and Ohio, they avoid Toledo. If you're looking for a sleeper, I like UMass. I got over 4.5 at plus 152.
No.
Okay,
No.
Jim. What are you going to do if UMass makes a bowl?
If UMass makes a bowl?
If UMass makes a bowl.
What should I do?
I don't know. That's gonna be there's always like our little bet. Like, what will Jim do? This will be it. If
It's gonna be UMass, we're gonna do it with UMass?
We're gonna do it with fucking UMass, dude.
Okay, if UMass makes a bowl, I will. If UMass makes a bowl, okay. Here's the fun one. We'll bring it back to the normal one. If UMass makes a bowl game, I'll eat a can of cat food.
All right, have to eat a bowl. That's the bet.
Yep.
Have
UMass
to
makes a bowl game.
Okay.
Write it down.
Marked.
All right, they're losing to Temple. They're winning to Bryant.
I have them beating Temple. I have them beating Bryant. Losing at Iowa.
I got them 1 win going to the bye.
I got 2-1.
Going into November, I have them at 2 wins.
How many wins you got them after their second one going?
Yeah,
into the second bye?
1 more, 2 wins total going into November.
3, 4. I have them at 5 wins.
So you haven't beaten both directional Michigan schools and Buffalo?
I have them losing to I have them beating Temple, beating Bryant, beating Western, beating Kent,
And beating Central?
and beating Central.
Okay.
Then I
I
have
think they could beat Western. I have them losing to Central and Buffalo. They will beat Kent, so I got them at 3 wins right there. And then I'm going to have them losing to Akron, NIU, Ohio, and Bowling Green. Like, I don't have them winning another game after that
dude,
bye.
just a fucking dick, dude.
This team stinks.
Dick. Fucking, we're going bowling, dude.
I'm betting the under.
Dude, if UMass makes a bowl game, maybe we should go to it.
Which bowl game do you think they will? Are there bowl predictions? No, they won't be in bowl predictions. They're probably not predicted to make a bowl game. What bowl game do you think they would make it to? The knowing our luck, it'd be like the Bahamas Bowl and be like, oh shit, we gotta go to the Bahamas now.
All right, here we go. College football bowl predictions.
UMass won't be on there though.
I know, but we can see what's the shittiest bowl game.
I guess you could look up where their MAC teams are going. Yeah, I'm betting the under at plus 125, under 3.5.
So look, they have the MAC teams going to the Ventures Bowl, the Myrtle Beach Bowl, the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, the Boca Raton Bowl.
Myrtle Beach? I've never been to Myrtle Beach. That'd be fun.
Game Above Sports Bowl.
Where the hell's that?
I have no idea, dude.
The Game Above?
That's the name of it. The Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl. How the fuck? They have Bowling Green going to the Snoop Dogg Oh, no, like who the fuck made these? Dude?
Oh, dude, Eric, the Game Above Sports Bowl played at Ford Field.
Dude,
We can
Make
make
a
it.
little
We can
trip
make the
back.
trip to Detroit.
make a trip to Detroit. Jesus, dude.
No, I bet the under on this team. This team's gonna stink.
Just fucking no,
One of the
no.
worst teams in the MAC.
Just
Western
Hate it.
Michigan, baby. Western
Hate it.
Michigan. This team plus 1,400 to win the conference, to win the MAC. Win total set at 5.5, plus 120 on the over, minus 150 on the
the
under.
worst would be is if they went to the Ventures Bowl in Mobile, Alabama.
Oh, that would suck. I would not want to do that one.
I mean, Jesus Christ. Dude.
We would do it though. We would do it for the people.
Western's
losing so much, dude.
Yeah, returning 25, returning four offensive, three defensive. Jones is coming in after standout JUCO career. Has only thrown 9 career FBS passes. Dual threat quarterback, more pocket movement than what we've seen in years past for the Broncos. Buckley, who missed 3 games last season but still rushed for over 1,000 yards, is back. The key to that success was the offensive line, which featured 2 all-conference players. However, they are losing 4 starters up front. So I expect this production to drop. That's a story we've seen before in the MAC. When you have a huge offensive line, this happened a couple years with CMU. Great offensive line. They had that running back whose name I'm spacing at was huge. They lose 2 guys to the NFL. Guy couldn't do anything. At wide receiver, they lose their top 2 targets. The staff hopes that Leary can step in as the number 1. I'm skeptical. You're counting on 2 players with no prior chemistry, Leary and Jones, to constantly connect right away. A little worried. Up front, they were supposed to be solid last season, but really disappointed. Only 19 sacks, allowing 190 yards per game on the ground. Losing 2 starters, but bringing in a lot of transfers to the portal. I think these numbers will improve throughout the season. The middle of the field, big question mark. They're losing everyone. And they're counting on 4 FCS and D2 transfers. I think there's going to be too many newcomers in there to do anything. Secondary, losing 3 starters, but added 8 transfers. Like everything else, it depends how they gel. Kicking game was awful last season. They got a transfer from Florida to come over. Didn't play last season. Should be an upgrade. Milroe transferred in from Iowa State to handle the punting duties. On paper, Union is better. I was really high on this team last year. They lost a bunch of games they shouldn't have. Usually year 3 is when this new coaching, a new coach's scheme is really took in and takes off. But when the transfer portal and the NIL, those days are gone. This team is interesting to me. If they start off 0-4, I think that's when you can put a little future on them in the MAC. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, then you'd have some. I mean, they'd probably go from plus 1,400 up to like maybe the 2,000s and whatnot. I'd see some value there. I think this team is probable at 5 wins. I think 5 wins.
I have them at 4.
I think like 5 to 6 is their absolute ceiling.
You got MSU, North Texas, at Illinois. Start off with Toledo, Rhode Island, at UMass, Ball State. Then you're bye. Then you can play Miami, CMU, then another bye. I mean, that's a couple schedules like this, and I just hate it because it's like you have a late bye, you play 2 games, and you have another fucking bye.
You'd almost want that bye like right before Toledo.
Or like right after Toledo.
Or right after, or like right after Rhode Island.
With the Rhode Island game.
Yeah.
So
I have them at like 4 or 5 wins, but minus 150 was too much. Couldn't do it. Eric for the MAC. What are you thinking? What are you feeling?
Buffalo to win it, Akron and UMass over win totals, and Ohio under.
What'd you get for that Buffalo number to win the
550?
So we got the same. So again, I'm on Buffalo plus 550. I'm on NIU plus 1,200. I'm on NIU over 6.5 plus 130. UMass under 3.5 plus 125, and Kent State under 1.5 at plus 165. MAC's always fun, and we always appreciate the MAC because it gives us football week round. Every day of the week we get football because of the MAC. Thank you. We'll see you next time. Follow that man actually right now at eTop21 Sports. Follow me at XFL Jim. Mwah. We'll see you for our next conference preview. Sunbelt coming up next, baby.